studio doors are locked. This is a closed set. Will Murray.
I got angrier because I'm like, this is so ridiculous.
Jason Kaplan.
Look at me. I am so lucky I have a woman who sleeps in the same bed with me.
Their world.
The relationship has deteriorated. No.
Their life.
What is going on around here?
And the Howard Stern back office.
You were screaming and fighting and being drunk? No.
This is Back Office Radio with Will and Jason. Call 888-STERN-101. Stern 101.
Hello and welcome to the debut episode of Back Office Radio. We know we're a half hour late.
The re-debut, I would
The
call it.
re-debut. We are broadcasting live from the Black Cloud Diner, and it really is a black cloud in here, Will. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah, when you broadcast in this room, it's going to be a shit show. That's just the bottom line.
We went on air, or we thought we went on air. We started the show, and it turned out that we weren't actually on air. And within a minute, I will give Sirius and our guys here a ton of credit. We had about 20 different engineers in here. There were electric screwdrivers. There were phones being thrown.
But we didn't know if we were on the air. So
Yes.
we were like, going on this conversation. People are running around. They're on walkie-talkies, like you said, and we're broadcasting just for the two of us and the great Al Ragone.
Of course, and Teddy's here. And real quick, my name is Jason Kaplan. This is Will Murray. We're hosts of Back Office Radio. And before we officially start the show, I'd say my favorite thing about watching all these guys come in here and try and fix the studio, and Tim's in here, and Jim, and John Lieberman's in here, is that everybody is just looking for a way to blame Scott the engineer. Like, you can't look at what happened and say it was definitely Scott's fault, but everyone is trying. Like, are you sure, can we blame this on Scott? Is this something Scott shouldn't be doing?
We can absolutely blame this on Scott, by the way.
Let's
I have
blame
no
it on
problem
Scott.
blaming it on Scott.
So Will and I, for those of you, thank you for tuning in. If you're still with us, thank you for hanging in there and following our tweets. And I know we're starting a half hour late. I would imagine that most of you tuning into the show right now know who Will and I are. Real quick, we've been working on the show for 12 years. We've lived together. We've worked side by side. We started on the bottom rung.
We were interns together.
Yeah, interns together.
Way back in 2001.
That's true. And, so now we're here. We've worked our way up. We produced some great shows here on Howard 101, and we begged and clawed and pleaded with Tim to give us our own show because we're unfiltered and we're in the back office and we see everything that goes on.
We are senior members of the back office. Now that I think about it, we've passed Stuttering John.
Yep.
He's no longer here. The great Casey Armstrong. He's gone. We are the senior members back there now.
Scary. Wednesday,
And sad.
Wednesday afternoon, when everyone clears out of here, the rest of the week, Will and I are pretty much in charge. And I know the audience is going to love this show, Will, because the reaction in the office, the buzz, and the frightened look in people's eyes is amazing. They seem to have fallen into two camps here in the office. I'm talking about our coworkers and other people here are serious.
Okay.
There are people that are really excited for our show because they just think we're just going to be a giant bus and roll over everybody and say all these crazy things. And they are looking forward to the shitstorm that we are going to erupt.
That would probably be an accurate description of the show as well.
I would say the other half are running scared. There are some guys out there that seem visibly nervous, not just today, but for the last few days about our show. JD,
Name names.
I'll name names. Well, JD, I just saw was double fisting Coca-Colas in the office earlier. He must be pounding down, so much sugar and caffeine. And
I think he eats when he's nervous, and it shows.
So he must be nervous all the time then.
Oh, come on, Jason.
And John Hine hasn't looked either one of us in the eye in about 3 days, I think. I don't think he's happy for our show, although he won't tell us.
No, it's a weird vibe from Johnny because, he says all the right things. He's happy for us, but I just feel a lot of cold wind blowing from that side of the room. And, I don't know. Like I said, he's a hard guy to read.
No, he's not hard to read. He's passive aggressive with a capital P, and he has been passive aggressive all week towards us.
And it starts.
But we'll get back into that later. We'll get into that later in the show. In fact, we have a huge show coming up, even though we lost the first half hour. We have Douche of the Week. We'll be nominating me, you, and Teddy.
The great Teddy Microphone.
Teddy Microphone, who, while he is our board op, he's not actually operating the board.
He's like the assistant board op.
I'm supervising today.
It's
you
a
don't
two-man
understand.
job.
In this room, it's necessary. So
He's a co-pilot.
Go Pot. So we have Douche of the Week coming up. All of us nominated our Douche of the Week, and we want to hear from everybody out there. Call in. Let us know who you think the Douche of the Week should be. We have Page 69, the return of Page 69.
Bringing back a fan favorite, the great Page 69.
Absolutely. A Fat Guy Minute update with myself. I was at Meatopia, which was a meat festival. We'll get into some of that.
Wait to hear about that one. it's truly disgusting.
We'll update we'll talk a little news and sports. We'll update our Stern Show Fantasy League. All the guys here on the show are in the Fantasy League together with Matthew Berry from ESPN. And there's already been drama and intrigue 4 weeks into the season. And JD is working very hard to get finish last place 3 years in a row. Is that correct, Kamish?
And that's not yes, that is correct. And that is not an easy feat. I think it would be harder to win a league 3 times in a row than it would be to come in last place, dead last every year.
Well, in fairness to JD, I think he's second to last right now.
He isn't second to last. Yeah, Gary, I don't even know what cares, but we'll talk. We'll get into that.
And we'll take your calls. Call 888-STERN-101. We'd love to hear from you. Ask us anything, and we will answer it unless it will get us fired. I mean, that's pretty much the way I look at it. Let's start. We already started kind of talking about how the office feels about us doing the show. We want to start every show by bringing the audience back into our office by giving you guys the State of the Office address.
State of the Office.
So I already mentioned how JD hasn't talked to me in a couple days, and I don't know if this is because of the show or because of our prior history. We got in a fight a few weeks ago, and in fact, Al, why don't you hit the intro to this story?
Who's left talking to Jason after this week's show? JD got mad at Jason for complaining about the block party to the news.
You heard what he had to say. I'm not going to disagree with that. I am the best employee around here.
No. I said this is his way to show. He's so. I can't stand this. I really can't stand it.
And Howard backed him up. Then Jason attacked Benji on the wrap-up show.
You exaggerate and make things up to make someone else look bad.
It's much funnier when Shirley says it.
Have these feuds boiled over to the back office? Is anyone talking to Jason? Does Jason care?
The answer is no to the last part of that question. Sorry.
All good questions.
Yeah, all good questions.
I think JD just cracked his third Coke.
You know, let me give you the JD thing from my perspective, and then I'd love to hear what you think of it. I went on the news, as you heard in that intro, and I just complained about the block party, which, by the way, is more than just JD. It's Shuli, it's Ronnie, it's whoever else that they suck into their universe. And I said, hey, guys, I'm running HowardStern.com right now. We've had talks about this before, about all content should be filtered for our Twitter account, our website, and I really don't appreciate how everyone was twittering pictures out all weekend. Shuli was fine with what I said. Ronnie was fine with what I said. But J.D. Harmeyer blew up at me in the back office, blew up at me on the air, didn't talk to me at Richie Wilson's wedding this weekend.
Wow.
I went up to him and tried to say something to him, and he just wanted nothing of it. He didn't turn his back to me, but he was not in the talk. It was very weird. And I said, really? We're doing, this is leaving the office. This is now affecting outside things. And he is not talking to me. He is done with me.
We've had the discussion many times on the air where other people can get away with saying things that you cannot get away with, and this is a prime example of that. I think JD just doesn't like you.
Right.
And this just, everything you do now reinforces that feeling.
I agree. I think JD's anger at me has nothing to do with what I said about the block party and everything to do with the fact that he does not like me. So if you don't I like you, JD, but really, fuck you, you twerp. I mean...
So what's going on with you two now, though? I mean,
what's going on?
You're not talking, right?
We're not talking. I went up to him Saturday at Richie Wilson's wedding. My wife actually said something. My wife, Janice, she goes, why, JD, you guys have walked by each other like 40 times, and he's won't even look at you. And I said, all right, let me go try and talk to him. He was sitting there. He bought a brand new suit.
Yeah,
of course,
J.C. Penney special.
Yeah, because of course rats ate all his other suit, and it looked like he went to the big boy store because the suit actually fit. So that was
Did
nice.
it look good?
It looked okay.
I want JD to look good at least.
It looked better than his last suit because it fit better. There weren't rat holes in it.
I think he was actually the same size. He just got bigger. So now
I think he's buying for his body type now. That's nice. But it definitely looked like, and not to sound like a complete snob, but it definitely looked like an off the rack, Macy's, $100.
Stop it. Come on, the guy doesn't give a shit. He wears a suit once a year at this point if he's lucky.
Yeah, but he's making some hardcore money with that block party. I mean, we heard thousands of dollars a weekend.
Yeah, you know what? He's getting laid without the suit. So whatever.
Right, well, whatever. So I went over to him. He was slumped over in the chair, drinking his Jack and Coke, his favorite drink. And I just said, "Hey, man, are we really not talking to each other? Is this a real thing?" And he goes, you really upset me with the news. And I go, JD, I don't feel I have anything to apologize for, but I don't like this bad blood between us.
Yeah.
And he started to say something. As soon as he started to say something, Richie came and grabbed us for that staff photo that we took. And that was the end of our conversation, and we haven't talked since.
See, maybe it was a misunderstanding. I mean, maybe those mumbles were him actually trying to apologize to you, and you just couldn't understand what he was saying. That happens a lot with Jamie. He goes, and you think he's pissed at you, and he's actually, trying to be your friend again.
It's possible. Hey, Logan from Washington, welcome. You're our first caller here on Back Office Radio. What do you think of this JD situation?
Well, first off, Jason, hey, I'm a big fan of both of you guys, but I'm sorry to break this to you, but do you guys know that you're not broadcasting over the radio?
What do you mean? We're talking to you right now.
You're talking to me on the phone line, but on Howard 101, Robin Gibbs is winning an Emmy.
Okay, buddy. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll stop the radio show and go put on 101, which I suggest everybody do.
Then you get exclusive content, my friend.
So do you think, Will, that it's tearing the office apart? Is it weird to you that... and to answer the second part of that segment, Benji and I are fine. Benji and I have...
No, but there was a weird moment, because I know after the wrap-up show, Benji came back in the office and he tried to talk to you about this, and you were kind of like, fuck you, Benji.
I wasn't fuck you, Benji, but I wasn't going to apologize either, which I think is what he was looking for. He came back and he was just like, hey man, I hope, he was kind of doing what I did to JD. He was like, hey, I hope there's no bad blood. And there isn't. But I said, listen, I go, you call me devious, that's your opinion.
He does that a lot. That's not the first time it's happened.
I know, that's why I got mad at it this time. And I said, and that's fine. And listen, you can say whatever you want and I'll say whatever I want back. But that's how I fight. When I get in the fight on the
air, gets ugly quick.
I don't pussyfoot around. I go right for the kill shot. And if you have a problem with that, then maybe we shouldn't fight on the air anymore.
They were some great zingers too. What did you say to them? Oh, and maybe we can have this conversation if you show up 15 minutes earlier. I love that.
I'm here at 5:30 every day. Show up early. We'll talk about it right before the show starts. Yeah. So, but Benji and I are fine. We've emailed, we've talked. He talks to me. He's a man. He's a man.
Yeah.
He's got some balls. All right. I think we cleared that one up. What else is going on in the office? Al, hit the next clip.
Ronnie the rock star? Will called Ronnie out on his diva-ish behavior, and Howard picked right up on it, calling him Hollywood Ronnie.
Hollywood Ronnie got you.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good name. That might stick.
Hollywood Ronnie.
Yeah.
With everything from the Block Party success to Fox TV pilots, Ronnie sure has a lot to strut about. But is he forgetting at the end of the day that he's just a limo driver who gets to use a metal detector?
Listen to you laughing. He's actually more than just a limo driver at this point. I mean, listen, he's a worldwide stud, apparently. I don't know. It's hard to take him seriously. Just to go back on that feud for a second.
Yeah.
He, does all this stuff now. He's going on the block parties. He's a huge star. You got a big intro from your boy Rob Corddry out in L.A. And it was very cool. I saw the pictures from the L.A. block party. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of celebrities here who are here to see these idiots. So I can see how that would go to your head. But we were back in the office, and I was asking him straight work questions, and he was being a dickhead. I said, Ronnie, leave the L.A. shit out in L.A., bro. I mean, we have work to do here. Don't be an asshole. And you're a cunt, you're whatever. Started trashing me or whatever. And then he went on the wrap-up show and did the same thing. Kind of said, oh, Will's being such an asshole. And I wasn't. I was just really asking him a question. And I truly believe that he goes through moments. I think he comes back to earth in a minute when Howard starts getting on his ass. But he goes through periods where he thinks he's a big deal. And it's like, dude, you're not that big. Like, you're a character on the show because Howard has made you a character.
Well, let me take that a step further. And I know there's no way I could say this without sounding like a dick to everybody, but I'll say it anyway. Ronnie thinks he's a big deal here, and he's not. He is great on the air. He is a very good driver, from what I understand, or an okay driver, from what I understand. He also helps lead the real security team here at Sirius. But at the end of the day, you are the producer, the assistant producer, whatever you want to call yourself, the Howard Stern Show. He is the security guy. In any other TV show, radio show, line of business, there is no way the fucking limo driver would talk to the producer like that. Now, I know we're not supposed to pull rank around here.
Yeah, I don't like that rant, but I get what you're saying.
No, I'll give that rant. Ronnie, you're a security guard. You're a limo driver.
A little security guard.
A very little security guard. A tiny limo driver. You have moments on the air where you act like a maniac, and that's what people love about you. And that's it. That's it. There's no more or less to you than that.
There is a part of me, and I know it's not fair, but it bugs me that like guys like you and I work our ass off on the show, and he's the one that kind of gets the rewards for it. Like, he's the big personality on the show. He's the one going out on the block party. And listen, I'm not like upset about it, but it's like, dude, you sit in the office and you kind of sleep half the time, and then when somebody comes in, you lead them through the office and you drive Howard around, and you get a lot of cool stuff for that. So I'd be a little more appreciative of it.
Let me translate for what Will just said. Stay in your place, boy. I think that's what Will was just saying.
What I was saying.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Anyway, though, Ronnie and I have made up to a certain degree. You know, I got to work with the guy every day. I'm not going to, be a complete asshole to him for that. So
I had to
happy ending for now.
I love Ronnie. I'm a big Ronnie fan. I know we had our own blow up. Yeah, we had our own blow up a few years ago over the cookies and cupcakes. But I do. He's one of my favorite guys in the office. Marianne from Brooklyn. Maybe we'll get a real first caller here. Welcome to Back Office Radio.
This is definitely be live on the air, so don't worry.
I know it, baby.
Working. Okay. You tore my favorite. It's about time. 12 fucking years. I think you should do Dick of the Week. Every week you should emphasize who was really the worst of the week. And Jason, I agree with you about JD. All things should go through Howard first, like Twitter and the picture. And you're right. And I like the way you snitch on everyone because you got balls. You'll keep snitching. And
You're such a great snitch.
Right. Now listen, Will.
Yes.
You were prime last week about the football and the baby and you and your wife. Be yourself, Will, and get it all out. We want to hear all the crap about the back office because that's what I live for. And I rearranged my whole schedule to be home today to call and listen. I'm so excited.
And then Scott ruined it for you.
Did you like it the first segment so far, Marianne?
I loved it.
All right.
I loved it. And I keep it up and let me know what's going on there because, like everyone says, I don't have a life. I have a Howard life, and I love hearing each and every detail.
Well, I'll tell you what, Marianne, hang on the line because coming up next, right now, our last State of the Office update here. I think Will has a little bit of a problem with me.
Last week, Howard called Jason his Employee of the Month.
There he goes. Jason, Employee of the Month.
Some people in the office think it's gone to his head. Perhaps it's because he already has an award made up from a fan hanging on his desk. Has Jason been preening? Or are the complaints just a result of jealousy in the office?
Well, Will? Answer that
what?
question. Am I preening?
I think it's gone to your stomach, not your head. Yeah, I mean, I think Howard is kind of just this throwaway line where he called you Employee of the Month. It was more to piss off other people than to really, shine the spotlight on you. I do think he thinks you're a great employee and that you work hard here.
Right.
But then you put up this plaque in the office that says Employee of the Week, or is it week or month?
Month. Come on, man.
Did he say the month? He said the whole month?
Do you want to play the clip again?
No. I think I've heard enough at this point. But you stare at that and you go, Jason, just shut the fuck up. Really? I mean, those are the times when I side with JD on you a little bit. I love you. You're a good guy. But, I mean, your plaque? Really?
I love you too. Will, I'm going to say something to you. You are fucking insane. You are absolutely insane. Some fan, at Jason Kaplan fan club, sent that to me. It is the literal definition of the least you could do. It's a blank piece of white paper.
Oh, I know.
That
it's
says
not very
Jason
fancy.
Employee of the Month. And I printed it up and hung it up to piss off JD. Little did I know.
It didn't piss me off a lot.
Oh, it did.
It did not.
Wait a second. The first day I picked it up, he goes to Brandano. He says, Will goes up to him. He goes, "You gonna let him get away with that? You gonna let him just hang that up in the office and just get away with that?" I was like, dude.
I said that?
Yeah, you did.
I don't even remember what I said.
Steve, get in
You were
here if
the
you're
room?
listening. I was sitting right next to Steve.
Well, listen, it's obnoxious. At the end of the day, nobody wants to see it. Everybody here is working hard on the show. And then we got Dopey over here with his big plaque,
Hold on, I'm going to tweet a picture out over Stern Show. In fact, Jim, here it is on my phone. Just tweet it out for me. I need the audience to see what has upset Will so greatly.
Jason is a good snitch, but he's also that kid in the class with his hand raised at the front of the class every time, and you're just like, you want to just throw gum at that guy's head the rest of the day.
It turns out I never did that in actual school, but I do it here. Hold on a second. We got Ryan in Boston. Ryan is on Team JD. What's up, Ryan? Welcome to Back Office Radio.
Hey, guys. I'm psyched for the show.
Thanks, man.
Jason, I'm on Jamie's team. You suck. You're such a thing. You really.
Excuse me, you're talking to Employee of the Month. Thank you very much.
Give me some specifics, yeah.
All right, some specifics. Well, one, you haven't shut the fuck up yet. I thought it was Will, but it's apparently it's the Jason, Yarmulke Kaplan.
Oh, here we go. Anti-Semite.
The Jew comment starting early.
Because I said yarmulke?
Well, what else does that mean? Do you want to say turban and say that that's not anti-Muslim? I mean, yeah, you said yarmulke.
You are
yarmulke.
such a pain in the ass to everybody. And then
Isn't it brilliant, though?
Why doesn't anybody love me when I walk out? I say I don't care. You do care. You want validation. The only person I think you genuinely do look for validation from is Howard. But other than that, you tell everybody that you don't care. But in fact, you do. No wonder you're 800 pounds. You go home and you eat your
Oh, no.
Wow, now I'm a fat Jew. This guy hit all the bases. I do care. I care that JD doesn't like me because I like
you
JD.
Do.
So
I can tell.
I do care that JD doesn't like me. I don't care that Scott the Pace doesn't like me. It really is dependent on the person.
I don't know about that either. I think there's moments where you're upset that you and Scott don't have a better relationship.
No,
I think
swear
when somebody doesn't like you act out doubly as hard because you're hurt in some way that people don't like you.
But with Scott, I could tell you there is a genuine joy, and I don't hate Scott the Pace. I don't. So I'm not looking to have an enemy in the office, but I do have joy of getting under his skin. I don't necessarily have joy of getting under JD's skin, but when he attacks me on the radio and on the air, and it's clear that he doesn't like me, then yeah, my reaction is hurt, and my action is to hit back. So,
is there anyone here that you genuinely hate?
Hate's such a strong
I have a name in
word.
mind, but I don't,
Hate's such a strong word. I don't know. You caught me on the wrong week for that one. There's a couple. I got like 3 people up on my hate list right now. But really hate. Yeah, there's one guy here, but he's not part of the Stern Show world, so I don't want to necessarily bring up his name on the air. But he's an exec here at Sirius, and anyone who knows me and knows the show definitely knows who I'm talking about.
How are we?
Eric in Wisconsin. Let's talk to the Midwest. How you doing? Welcome to Back Office Radio.
Hey, boys. How about this for a contest in the future for the show? We find the female version of JD.
Well, have you seen JD's hair lately? He's looking like the female version of JD. Owen in Texas.
Chaz Bono would have been perfect, but I think she's growing a penis now. So. I love JD. I promise you, when I bust his balls, it's out of love.
Well, he certainly takes it out of love, because you could bust his balls all day long and he comes back for more.
I don't know. We're on the air now. It could be a little different.
Owen in Texas, welcome to Back Office Radio.
Guys, this is fucking epic. That's why I like the Stern Show, is for all this background stuff.
Yeah.
JD is so fat and Chinese looking, it's fucking disgusting. He looks like an Asian. That kid's an Asian. But my point was, Jason, do you have some sort of a pact workout with Howard so that you have a job after this? Because there's no other reason why a man would be so awful and let everyone hate him that much. No one is that way unless you're just that completely fucked up.
Well, let's be real for a second. You see, I know the perception is that there are tons of people lined up that hate me, but right now JD is mad at me, and I know Scott DePace, I'm not his best friend. Other than that, I don't think there's a huge line of people that hate me or don't talk to me.
Well, you and John were arguing.
Well,
right?
We'll get to John later in the show, but I don't think that counts if it's a two-way street. I'm talking about a one-way street of people not liking me. Listen, I know what the perception is, but I have tons of friends from the show. I was just at Richie Wilson's wedding having a great time. I actually had a really nice conversation with Scott DePace at the wedding, and speaking of the wedding.
Well, one thing, though. These things, they flow with Jason. Right. We have a list in the back office of everybody that Jason has had a major fight with.
Yeah.
And I think it includes literally every single person who works here, including your family, past friends.
Well, Owen,
I think your butcher.
Never my butcher. Oh. Owen, we work on a radio show. I grew up listening to the Howard Stern show. My favorite parts of the Howard Stern show, like you said, are the back office gossip, the fight, the backstabbing, stuttering John, goofing on Gary, and taping $1 bills to strings and making Scott Salem run up and down the hall. I mean, that's the stuff I grew up on. That's the stuff I love. And I feel an honor that I have become this guy on the show. I would have never in a million years, when I first started working on this show 12 years ago, thought that this would be my role. I thought I'd be lucky to get airtime with Howard once in a blue moon. I thought, my best assets were, chiming in from the back office and working on projects. I am shocked, but this perception that everybody hates me is not a true perception. And I'll tell you.
It's just the audience.
I
think that's what he's trying to say.
The people that work closest to me, Gary and Howard and Tim Sabian and Will Murray and Steve Brandano, even
all the important people
those are the people I work side by side with. Like, I sit next to Gary every single day for the last 12 years. And if I was a terror in the office, Gary would not only know about it, but have a problem with it. The perception is widely overblown.
Yeah. And another thing is, I've learned through 12 years of knowing Jason, it's just not a good place to be on his bad side.
No, and
it's just not
that.
worth it. It really isn't. So, I mean, not that I don't genuinely like you, but, it's a lot easier to be your friend than your enemy.
Good. I would love if people left me alone because they don't want to get in a fight with me. We're going to take one more call, and then we're going to go out to break. And, Will, there's been one thing that people have been Twittering me, and I think you, ever since we announced the show. And they said, these guys aren't going to be for real unless they answer this question. So, Tommy from Malden, give me your question.
Hey now, guys. Congratulations on the show.
Oh, my God. Are you a first-time caller? I've never heard you before.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Listen to me. I've met both of you guys in person. You're both gentlemen. And JD wasn't very nice to me when I met him. So I'm on your side, JD.
Yeah, right. Fuck him.
I get 2 names for the show. The Odd Couple,
Tommy,
Fat.
We have a name for the show.
Yeah, it's called Back Office Radio. Tommy, get to your question, because it's the question that I've been Twittering.
Your comedy never works, bro.
Is Robin going to live, or is she coming back to the studio? We want an answer.
Those are the two options. Is she going to live or come back to the studio?
There were so many people on Twitter and on the forums last night that were saying, if these guys don't talk about Robin, if they don't give us the true scoop about Robin, then it's all BS and they're not being uncensored. And what truth is there to give? This is what I would like to say to these people. Robin is sick. She had, over the summer, a grapefruit-sized something removed from her. This was said on air. She has since been courageous enough and brave enough to wake up in the morning and, even though she's not feeling great, to go on the radio with Howard, to be there for the show, to be working. I'm sure it's a great outlet for her. I'm sure it's a great way for her to be in contact with the outside world. But I don't understand what people are implying when they say that we're not giving the truth about Robin. What truth is there? I don't know what people are implying. Are they implying that she's lazy or lying or had an abortion? Like, what are people complaining about?
Read between the lines and you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Move on.
There's plenty to pick on Robin about, but this is not one of those things. Coming up after this break, we have the return of Page 69, and if you think people are mad at us after this first segment, they're going to hate us after the next segment. Thank you for listening to Back Office Radio only on Howard 101. We'll be right back.
This is Back Office Radio with Will and Jason on Howard 101. And now, back to Employee of the Month, Jason Kaplan and Will Murray.
We are back live from Scott's studio. Welcome back to Back Office Radio, only on Howard 101. Well, I got a lot of tweets from that. So we were supposed to start.
Hold, 1 second before we go to tweets. I just want to hear this real quick. So Teddy just came from JD's office.
Oh,
and he has an update on how JD's feeling right now.
Besides fat,
he's not listening.
He's not listening.
The door's shut. He's working.
That's such a douche move, right there.
What really shut? You can't hear a thing in there.
Like, how
blasting in the office,
dude.
and the rest of the office is being very supportive. John Hine, Steve, they're back there. They're listening.
Well, of course,
every
why
time
wouldn't
we
you?
ran back to see if we were on the air, they're like, no, you guys are good. You blah, blah, blah.
Oh, here he is.
I am listening, all right? I've heard every word, and that is all I'm saying.
Come back. Oh, my God. He just ran down here. That's his exercise for the week.
It was so awesome. I heard his footsteps about 5 seconds before he opened the door.
I know.
You know, that was like this.
Godzilla coming through.
All right, so I was wrong. Never mind. Carry on.
Thanks for that report, Teddy. Great work as usual.
Crack reporter. Hey, did you open up your eyes?
Secretly listening?
I didn't know he was secretly listening. Well, how is he secretly listening?
He's in a
because
glass.
his door was closed and you assumed he wasn't listening?
He looked like he was doing work.
He has a glass office. You didn't have to open the door.
No. Look, it's fine.
That's something you should try to do.
He's listening.
Look like you're doing work. Uh-oh, he's backing off. That's it. Are you going to vomit? You don't look very well.
Teddy was at a concert all night last night. It was some sort of rave or something. He was showing us on his iPhone. And did you get stopped at the door? They confiscated your lighter and your cigarette.
Yeah, they wouldn't let my buddy take his bottle of Jack Daniels.
Your funny cigarette.
And take it out. So
what the hell's wrong with these people?
But don't worry. Teddy doesn't want us to say specifically, but he got fucked up. And he might still be feeling the effects today.
He did a lot of legal drugs.
Oh, yeah. Legal in other countries.
Look,
safe drugs. Looks, it was a concert.
I didn't get arrested or anything, so we're fine.
Hey, always a sign of a good night.
Yeah.
How could chemicals be drugs? Hey, before we get too off track, a segment here. I'm sorry that the microphone is so noisy here in Scott's studio. I should stop moving it.
I think it's that poor chair you're sitting on, screaming for help.
You know, we should make a sounder for my chair screaming for help. I think that's good. Oh, by the way, contrary to popular belief on Twitter, my fat ass was not the reason that Scott's studio was knocked
Somebody
off
said
the
you
air.
were eating equipment. I like that one.
Somebody said I spilled a milkshake on the equipment. Matt Foster wants to know if the whole studio was built in France.
Good point.
Are you guys professionals? I hope Gary isn't running this. That's from somebody else.
We are not professionals, just for the record.
Somebody just screamed Scott.
It's Scott. We're in the Black Cloud Diner. This is what happens here, people.
Here's that Pirate 420. Even the satellites in outer space don't want to hear Jason on another radio show. Did H101 get a whooping cough? Fucking Scott, what's up? You fucked up, you fucked up, you fucked up. Well, I think that pretty much sums it up. So welcome to Scott's Studio. And maybe we can nominate Scott's Studio in our new segment called Douche of the Week. This is where Will and Teddy and I will nominate our douche of the week. Now, the obvious douche of the week is probably Gary for the whooping cough, but that was brought up enough on other shows. So we're going to give our back office douche of the week. Who wants to go first?
Teddy, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah.
Well, I think my nominee is Studio 61, Scott's room, but by default, it's also Scott because he's alive. He was in here 24 hours before.
I know. Don't you hate that?
I mean, he literally left the room 30 minutes before we tried to go on air, and we didn't get on air, so therefore, that's my nominee.
Earlier today, we went up to Teddy because he hadn't submitted a douche of the week. And we asked him who your douche of the week is. And he goes, I don't know if I have one. I'll just skip me this week. Just skip me.
Yeah, it's the first time in his life he hasn't had an insult from somebody who works here.
Yeah, everybody had a good week with me. I'm not angry at anybody.
Then he walked into Scott's studio, and 30 seconds later, he walked out, and he goes, fuck it, Scott's my douche of the week. I can't stand
Before
him.
we got on the air, though, Jason and I said if you didn't come up with a douche of the week, you were going to be the douche of the week, and we were just going to rip your ass for a while.
Thanks.
But I think you're safe.
Thank you.
Studio 69, that hilarious choice is
61.
Great. Whatever the fuck it is.
Teddy nominates Studio 61 and Scott Salem as his
douche of the week.
Good choice, Teddy. I like that. Will?
Okay. Listen, I have been on much better terms with the great Lisa G lately, but we had an experience yesterday which put her right back in my doghouse.
Mm-hmm.
She was assigned to do a news story about us doing this show. So she comes back, and she's kind of got this weird kind of coldness to her to begin with. You know, most of the news stories, especially for like a new show, they're supposed to be enthusiastic. You're trying to get people excited for it.
She's the entertainment reporter. She's the Entertainment Tonight of our back office, and everything is supposed to be a positive.
You're promoting the show.
Right.
So she comes back, and she says, so tell me about this new show you're doing. And I go, okay, so it's back office radio. You know, we're going to talk about a lot of the gossip back there, all the banter that goes on between the guys. And at some point she goes, and that's interesting to the audience because... And I was like, bitch, you are writing a book about cookie recipes. And urban dating, whatever that means. I guess that means dating black guys.
What else can it possibly mean?
I don't know what it means, but like cookie recipes for times in your life. That's what the book is about.
Well, she's writing a book called about her sex life.
So clearly she knows the audience she's speaking to.
I agree with you. I was there for all of this, and it was very weird how Lisa was actually kind of upbeat at first, and then as soon as she found out that we were doing an opinion show, and we're not just doing some sort of news reporting show, she got a really
Why
weird,
would people
really
care
fast.
about your opinions? I don't understand.
Well,
keep that shit to yourself.
I hope, Lisa, you shouldn't get upset because according to you, no one cares about Will's opinion about
Right.
you.
And listen, I don't like bullying Lisa. I know that Howard is a big guy on saying it's a male dominated audience. We shouldn't be picking on Lisa and all the rest of it. But when you make comments like that, you're asking for it. You know what I mean? Stick to your cookie book.
Will nominates Lisa G as his
douche of the week.
I like that. Will, I like your pick. Now, my pick is actually along the same vein as yours, and it is the one, the only, the host of the wrap-up show, John Hein. John Hein is my douche of the week.
This could be good.
And this is all for stuff off air and not for anything on air. John has, as we said in the opening of the show, been very, very passively aggressive about our radio show. He has not had one nice word to say about it when he said it at all. And in fact, it's gotten to the point where at least I feel that he's been trying to undermine us by running to Tim and asking for things because we're getting them, and he's cornering me in the hall, and he's asking me all sorts of loaded questions about the show, and then when I don't give him the answers he's looking for, he corners Jim in the hall and asks him all sorts of loaded questions. John, you already ruined the fast food show for me.
Oh, no.
You've already spun off your own show off at Geek Time and make Geek Time that much harder to produce for me.
Oh.
And now you're trying to step all over this show. Here's my message to you as douche of the week. Stay out of my business. Stay out of my radio shows that I'm working on, unless I'm working on them with you. And if you're really a friend, as you claim you are, try and show a little support.
We're a friend.
Little support for the show. I know, Will, you went through this yourself when you were doing the chatter, and John wasn't exactly the most supportive guy.
Listen, like I said, he says all the right things. It's just a feeling you get from John. I mean, he did do a couple things with chatter where he was really shitting on the show, and he'd be like, yeah, man, I love the show. I'm just, tooling around with you.
But be real, you got angry. At one point, you got really
I
angry.
did get upset with him, and it bothered me because his show, like you said, his show has nothing to do with our show.
Right.
And I try and be supportive. Listen, I don't watch a lot of television and all the rest of it, but I see that there's an audience for it, and that people like listening to it. And John's way into it. Steve and John do a great job with it, and they're way into it. But that's no reason to kind of shit on what we do.
That's right. It's
not a competition. We're on the same team.
I have my own problem with John's show, and it has nothing to do with the on-air content. It just has to do with the fact that I feel, I've said this on Howard's show before, that it kind of, he already hosts a TV segment on Geek Time, and I feel it takes away a little. That's my opinion. The TV show is fine in and of itself. But let's remember, John Hein has an appetite. You guys think I'm fat. He has an appetite that cannot be quenched. He hosts a show 5 days a week on this channel.
Oh,
okay?
I thought you were talking about food.
No, I'm talking about ego.
Oh.
He hosts the wrap-up show, which is the second most listened to show here at Sirius XM, outside of Howard Show, obviously.
Wrap-up show's a great show.
And it is a brilliant show, and it is on Monday through Wednesday, and John does an excellent job co-hosting that with Gary.
He gets a word in.
When he gets on Thursdays, he hosts the John Hein TV show. Again, if that's your cup of tea, it's a very good show for talking about television. On Friday, he hosts Geek Time. There is not a weekday that he is not hosting a show on either Howard 100 or Howard 101, and yet he seems to be getting his little panties in an uproar over our...
John Hein wears panties? Now that's a good Big 69.
Well, I'm still waiting to get some confirmation on that. So I nominate John Hein as my
Douche of the Week.
We would love to hear from you out there. Call 888-STERN-101. Let us know if you agree with our picks for Douche of the Week. Let us know who you think should win. Let us know if we missed somebody that we should have nominated.
That would be a good one, too. I'm sure there's more douches
that
out
we
there
didn't
that we
nominate. Andrew from Richmond, VA. Welcome to Back Office Radio.
Good afternoon. I totally agree with you on the John Hein part. Also,
Thank
he
you.
refers to his favorite sports team as we, which we know how Will feels about that. my opinion for douche of the week is Robin, because it seems like ever since she's been working from home, she's been re-emasculating members of the staff and
the problem is.
The problem, like this week specifically, when Marianne called in yesterday, it seemed like she was especially harsh towards Marianne.
Yeah. I don't know. I got to tell you, I was listening to the show on the drive home yesterday, just because it's a different experience listening to the show in your car than it is in the back office, because there's just so much talking in the back office. Sometimes it's very difficult to hear. All about work, by the way. And I thought she sounds great. I think she's really good on the show. She's sharp. She's throwing bombs at people, and I don't think she's ever sounded better.
Oh,
wait, hold on. Surprise guest.
Douche of the Week nominees.
Entering the compound.
I'm
here to accept my award of douche.
No, you didn't win. You're a nominee.
I'm sorry. I'll come back later.
No.
I'll address what Jason had to say. First of all, thank you guys for your support as always. I know Will thinks there's this hidden agenda behind whatever I say, and I really don't mean it.
Not whatever you say.
Well, I'm behind a lot of my stuff.
Yes.
The show stuff, show related.
Here's the thing. You guys have been acting so weird about this show. You've kept it secret.
Yep.
Like you don't want to tell anybody what's going on. And with the chatter, like Will said, we were he was ragging on the TV show. I was ragging on the chatter. One day I got to him and it was fine. But I totally supported that show. And this show, I think I did. And this show, I think, is great. As for me, no, I mean, it's great that you guys have a show.
Would you like to know why we kept it so secret?
Okay.
Because of you. Because we don't trust you, and we had to go into the green room to have all of our meetings.
Why would you not trust me?
Because all of a sudden, certain things we were saying in the office about our show were filtering to other people, and we were hearing things. And quite frankly,
I don't understand what that means. What was being filtered?
Jim,
my
Jim's
issues.
my
First of all,
I don't know if I'm allowed to say what I want to say. Jim's shaking his head no.
I sent a private email.
I can't believe you weaseled your way onto another show.
Yeah,
by the way.
seriously, because I need more airtime. And Jason, I nominate you for douche of the week.
Oh, another nominee.
Only the three of us can nominate you.
You're saying I'm on the channels all the time, dude. You've surpassed Shuli and me.
What shows do I host?
You're on what?
Besides the show,
you're on Howard Show as a guest. You're on Wrap Up as a guest.
So are you. I mean, as a guest, yeah. I come down to Wrap Up because you asked me to.
You did the AGT Wrap Up show,
and that's over.
You produce Superfan, which you go on. You're on the air just as much as me, if not more.
Okay. Well, then I will host a 2-hour show after Howard Show every day, and I will be on the air.
Well,
as
it's
much
not
as
a 2-hour show. But that aside, with everything that you said, my issues with the show and how it's being treated have nothing to do with your show. Nothing to do with it at all. And somebody I sent an email to in confidence should know that. But that aside,
who's this somebody?
I hope you guys have a great show. I hope it goes on every Friday. I love the fact that this is the lead into the TV show, and I want you both to know, as my friends, I support you. I left
BOR bump.
I left you a thing of cake on your desk tomorrow, wishing you good luck.
Oh, that was
nice.
you?
Anyone that leaves you cake.
That was me.
Come on.
I think the wrong person for that. You should have wrote your name on it.
But yeah, I'm sorry you feel that way, and if you think I'm hungry for more airtime and this and that, that's got nothing to do.
I think you're just hungry. It's about
that
time.
actually
well, you're definitely hungry for more airtime. Be honest, you are. You're trying to get more airtime right now, aren't you?
No,
Not on
stop
the show.
it.
Okay.
Stop.
No,
That's not true.
I asked Jim if you want me to come in.
Of course we do. And we want to.
No, I'm not talking about this show.
See, the guy's smooth. He says all the right things.
All the right things, and that's why he's our nominee for
of the week.
So what's my hidden agenda? What am I really trying to say here?
There is no hidden agenda, John. I don't believe you fully support the show, but that's okay.
Why? Why wouldn't I fully support the show?
By your actions in the office, by how you've treated me and Will. You barely looked us in the eyes the last couple of days. And quite frankly, yesterday, when you cornered me in the hall and started spitfiring questions at me about the show, and then the second I walked away, you turned to Jim and you start questioning him about the show. I was like, why are you in our business? Why do you care about what we're doing on our show?
Because, one, I'm interested just because I work in this office. If you have a show called Back Office Radio, so be it. And two, there's other things with the schedule that are happening that I want to know so I can have discussions with certain people about it.
The question was not about the schedule to me, or I don't think it was about the question. That's
yeah,
what
I
you're
asked
talking to Jim
you.
about.
I asked you what the show was going to be.
No. I'll recount the exact conversation. The exact conversation was, so what's the deal? No one's going to be able to come in and defend themselves. You guys are just going to lock yourselves in the office.
I don't talk like that.
So if JD,
I don't speak like that.
Okay, I'll speak like that.
Good point.
So if JD,
I don't speak like that either.
Gets mad, then he can't come in and defend himself.
I don't speak like that either, Jason. Just talk in your regular voice. Everyone loves to hear that. Go ahead.
Low blow.
John was grilling me about the show, and then he grilled Jim behind my back about the show. I saw you do it. You were very concerned about our business. I didn't ask all these questions about your TV show when it was starting. I didn't go, what are they going to talk about? What are they going to do?
Okay, if my show was called Back Office Radio, and I was going to talk about what happens in the back office, one, I would include you in it to see what you thought and to get your feedback, and two, I would certainly let you know up front if that's what it was going to be. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, I think we said all we can say on this subject. I stand where I stand. John stands where he stands. And
he did bring you cake. Remember that.
It wasn't very
when
good.
nominated.
I think it was banana. It was a muffin or something.
Yeah, because I won the weekly football pick.
He's worried about your health.
And it was only half of one.
But anyway,
there he goes bragging about he's winning football again.
But I want both of you guys to know that seriously, I'm totally behind your show. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope it succeeds and is on for a long time. And if you need help or want feedback, I'm there. And Jason, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Well, I appreciate it, and I accept it with a rather large grain of salt. But thank you.
See, it's hard for me to be mad at John. I wasn't that I was really mad, but
Will came to me and said,
he's
"Let's go
a
into
charmer.
the green room.
He's a charmer.
Let's go into the green room. I don't want to discuss our show in front of John." That's what you said.
I don't even remember saying that,
Well, you did.
But maybe I did. Well, listen, there seemed to be some tension in the office, but clearly we were mistaken. I don't think so. Move on.
Well, that was our nominees for Douche of the Week. Like I said, call in 888-STERN-101 to either tell us we missed a Douche of the Week or you agree with our nominees. But let's move the show on to a little segment we like to call Page 69.
Page 69.
We kind of updated our music. Do you hear that? It's a new, cooler Page 69.
Will hated the Entertainment Tonight theme song.
I said we could start it off with that, but we weren't going to run it under the entire piece. So it is what it is. Now we got a little bit of horns going. Teddy's jamming in here. I think he's still high.
All right. Well, I just had an uncomfortable conversation with John. So do you want to start with your Page 69 or?
All right. Well, listen. While we're on Lisa G, I have a great Lisa G piece. This is great. And this is old, but for whatever reason, it never got out. So I guess months ago, Lisa G decided she was going to have a lunch for staffers, staff wives and girlfriends.
Oh, okay.
My wife wasn't invited. I don't know if yours was invited.
Never got invited.
I don't think it was everybody's girlfriend or wife. But she holds this party, tells everybody to meet at a restaurant. They go to the restaurant, because she sent out an invite, and she orders for the table.
Lisa does.
Lisa orders for the table.
I hate when people order.
So, which is weird to begin with, because people are like, I'm kind of hungry, and she ordered like a bunch of appetizers.
Yeah, she's skinny. Skinny people should never order for people.
Right. So then she leads the conversation. They probably have I'm assuming, boring lunch. They get the check, and Lisa announces to the table, okay, so this is what everybody owes. So she invited everybody. She invited everybody to this lunch. She ordered for them, and then made them pay their portion of the bill.
As a fat guy, I'm angry.
Isn't that
disgusting.
weird?
No, that's not
strange,
weird.
right?
That's beyond strange. And do you even know? Can you name one Stern staffer or girlfriend that was there?
I can't name because those will be my sources.
Oh, well, we just know it wasn't Tracy Murray and it wasn't Janice Kaplan. Neither one of them were there.
I think it was more peripheral players, but that's a weird move. If she wants to come down and explain that and probably slap me, she's more than welcome to do that.
Well, when you invite someone to lunch, that usually means, especially when you invite a group out to lunch, that usually means you're picking up the tab, or you say it ahead of time. You say like, hey, let's all meet for lunch, Dutch, I guess is the correct term. That's a very, very weird move.
Yeah, and then you don't order other people's food if you expect them to pay for it.
I have a page 69, Will. Poor Shuli. He sat in for the show for 3 days, and I thought he did a good job. I'm a Shuli fan. I'm a Shuli supporter. Anytime anybody does something new around here, and you and I have been feeling it this week, people get bitter and jealous and, who's that guy to get this? But I actually really like Shuli. I think he's funny, and I felt good for him getting to sit in on the show.
He knows the show very well.
Yeah.
So the transition was much easier for him than, some random comedian that doesn't really know the flow of the show. Meaning, basically, he knows to shut the fuck up when Howard's talking.
Yeah, and he did a good job.
He was funny. He got his zingers in.
Yeah, and I think it was a well-deserved opportunity. So then the following week, I come in that Monday.
This is last week.
This is last week, and I come in Monday morning, and he's there holding the door open for me at 5:30 a.m. So I'm like, my first thought is, he must be back on the radio with Howard today because he's never here this early. And then the show starts, and he's still in our office, and an hour later, he's just sitting there staring at us, and he's been doing that ever since. Every morning now, we come in, there's just Shuli, kind of like a lost puppy, hanging in our back office. I've actually joked that if we had an Artie chair in our back office, he's now filled it because he sits back there and cracks jokes about while the show is going on. But in another way, it's kind of sad. He's like a little lost bird or something.
I don't know if it's sad. Listen, I think the guy saw an opportunity to be part of the Stern Show, and, he may be asked to come back again at some point, but he wanted to try and make the most of the opportunity, try and put himself in a position where he would be noticed, and maybe Howard says, hey, why don't you come in and sit in today? So it was certainly a calculated move. Like, he wanted to make sure Howard saw him in the morning, and he said hello and all the rest of it.
Well, he must have learned that from John Hein, those years where he used to pretend he played chess and would hang out by JD's office every morning when Howard... What? Is that... I still talked about
that is what happened.
Yeah, that is what happened. Thank you.
Johnny had a move where he would just go and like clockwork talk to JD in his office, literally like 3 minutes before Howard came out of his office to go into the studio. And he just makes sure he was there to wish Howard a hearty hello.
All right, well, that's our page 69. We're going to go out to a break, but real quick, Tim from Ohio, go ahead, say it, and I'll respond.
Well, it's not a negative, it's just a question. Do you still feel some underlying anger toward John Hein about his Fast Food Mania show?
Oh, okay, I thought you were asking a different question. The answer to that is absolutely yes, 100%. I'm jealous and bitter and not happy about the way the whole thing went down.
It's great because there's an enormous John Hein poster from his television show that John hung right above Jason's desk, so he has to look at it every morning when he comes in.
If you haven't seen John Hein's TV show yet or fast food show yet, I'm sure it will be returning on 2013 somewhere, someplace.
An angry man.
Just look it up on the internet. I'm sure they have all the information. Will, coming up next on Back Office Radio, we will be revealing our most underreported Howard 100 news story
good one,
of the week. I'll be giving an update, a fat guy update from Metopia. We'll talk a little bit about my home life. We'll talk more about our Douche of the Week nominees and more. Thank you for listening. We'll be right back to Back Office Radio only on Howard 101.
You're listening to Back Office Radio with Will and Jason on Howard 101. Provided Jason didn't die of a heart attack during the commercial break, this is Back Office Radio with Will and Jason on Howard 101.
Well, I'm just reading some of our tweets. Hey, where'd our music go? All right, just reading some of our tweets here. Hey, Back Office Radio, I cannot stand Lisa G. Back Office Radio is great. Next time, make sure the green type of tube is working properly. Thank you, at Greg. Team Kaplan, JD is such a tool. These are, by the way, tweets coming into at Stern Show, so I'm not reading my own personal Twitter account.
By the way, I have one IM here from Scott DePace. My advice, lose Jason.
Well, go ahead. Replace him with Scott DePace. Yeah. Scott DePace, of course, tweeting from the golf course, I'm sure, because he's never at work. Welcome back to Back Office Radio. It's already contentions. It's already not sure if I should even leave Scott's studio at this point to walk back out into the office.
It's going to be ugly back there, I feel like. You know? We're going to get a lot of work done from now on because nobody's going to talk to us.
Well, I'm more used to this. I've been dealing with this for a few years.
I'm not.
What about you?
I'm a little scared.
You mentioned the other day that, you hope we don't turn into pariahs, and I was like, well, who gives a shit? But I think
you're used to that, right?
You give more. Well, no one's talked to me my entire life, so yeah. I'm used to being ignored and scorned.
I think I've tried to be a bit of a buffer between people, and the worst thing I've said is about Lisa G, and I'm used to her not talking to me at this point, so life goes on.
You back me up on most of that John Hein stuff I said.
Yeah, I mean, we say it in different ways, but yes.
So Will and I, our lives revolve around the show. We're at work 90% of the time of our lives. When we go home, when we're not just at home with our wives and in Will's case, his kid, we're out with Stern Show people. Like this weekend, I was out at Richie Wilson's wedding.
How many times are you going to bring that up, bro?
Well, because
I saw the pictures. Everyone had a great time without me. I understand.
I'm literally the only person in this studio right now, and there's 5 of us that was at Richie Wilson's wedding, so I will mention that. Jim was also, right? 2 out of 5. It's not bad. And, so we'll talk a little bit about our home life here, because our home life definitely revolves around the show. We grew up together. We in our 20s anyway. We moved in.
We lived together.
We lived together. I was 22. I think you were 23 or 23 and 24. We lived together for almost 5 years. You met Tracy while I was living with you, who is now your wife.
Through the show.
You stole her from this guy Ari, used to work for us, and he wanted her, and he asked you to go out on a double date with him, and you ended up walking away with the prize. I remember my earliest days of listening to you guys have sex from across the kitchen.
And Richard Christie used to hear that too. That's what happens when you have a blanket as a door.
What happened was, after I moved out, Richard Christie moved in, and so Richard was living there with Will and Tracy. We've gone from watching Jeopardy every night together to now you own a home in New Jersey with a yard and a grill. And
I'm quite the suburbanite now.
You are, and it's funny because I think a lot of people, I know Howard was kind of not ragging on you, but talking about like, yeah, you're that guy now.
Well, he's been there,
right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people here look down on me now. They don't think it's very cool, but it is what it is.
But here's the thing. I know you have this wild guy image, especially it's been brought up on the air this week, that in your younger days you used to be wild and jump on people's backs and drink like crazy and tell kids that Santa Claus doesn't exist. And all
those
that
were
stuff.
one-time occasions. It wasn't like I repeatedly did that.
There were a bunch
Except the Santa Claus thing. I think I did that more than once.
There were a bunch of individual one-time
yes.
things that add up to a bunch of things. But it is my opinion that this is what you want. This is, as long as I've known you, you have always been a homebody in the sense that you like to keep things clean. You know how to use a vacuum cleaner. You ask for ironing boards for Christmas. I think this is the will. If you could have, if we go back 10 years and I could have asked you where you want to be in 10 years, I guarantee you would have said married with a house and a couple kids.
Yeah, it's funny. I never really saw things like that as a choice. It was just like, you go to college and then you get a job and then you get married and you have kids. And I kind of clearly followed that career path, but I never thought of it as another choice. That's what you do in life. And then you come here and people live all kinds of different lifestyles, and it opens up the world. Probably a little too late for me, but what are you going to do?
And it's changed your life in the way, like, did you even stay up for the Eagles-Giants game last week?
I did not stay up for the game. Now, you know what? It's like one of those things. If you're either going to stay up for the whole game or you're not going to stay up at all, because it's like, why stay up for like the first quarter of the game? And you're only going to get sucked in. So, I think I watched the first plays of the game, the first 2 drives, and then I went to bed. I mean, my kid is not going to sleep in because I want to watch the Eagles game.
When Tracy had the kid, and I know we've had this discussion before.
Owen, you can say his name.
Owen Murray,
yes.
who gladly shares his Cheerios with me, and I appreciate it.
Different story.
We were at Steve Brandano, had a party a few weeks ago, and the Murrays were there, and Will and I were playing beer pong, and Owen Murray had a cup full of Cheerios, and I would just reach in and take Cheerios.
But can you say why you were so into the Cheerios?
Oh, well, I was drunk and high.
Yeah, he was stoned out of his mind, and he's sitting there literally stealing Cheerios from my 14-month-old baby.
Well, it's not so much stealing.
And then you used to take that and just put him in his face like you were taunting him.
Well, it was funny because he has his arms are so short he couldn't reach them. He'd go, oh.
People accuse JD of looking Chinese, by the way. There's nobody that looks more Chinese than a stoned Jason Kaplan.
We lived together. I used to walk out into the kitchen and we'll just go, You're so stoned.
You can never hide it.
You can tell, man.
Yeah, right.
I had my eyes all closed and stuff. Speaking of my home life,
that's where it's going to get interesting, because Jason's had a few lifestyle changes in the last couple months, I would say.
My wife, Janice, who is a beautiful and lovely lady, and nares my back hair every summer, so how can I ever say anything bad about her? Oh, you guys have no idea how disgusting it is.
I think we have some idea. When we used to live together, I'm telling you, it looked like there was a bear carpet on our bathroom floor because Jason's ass and back hair was all over the place. I'm telling you, the toilet looked fluffy.
I have to do that. That's one of those things Janice taught me to do since we've been living together for the last 5 years, that when I go to the toilet, like when I'm sitting down taking a crap, that if I sit on there too long, I leave a ring of sweat and hair on the back of the toilet seat. And so she goes, I sit on the toilet.
What a catch. What a lucky girl, really. Jason, don't forget to clean up your ass hair.
Teddy throwing up in the corner. So she actually had to have a talk with me about it. She's like, look, I sit down every time I go to the bathroom and you leave this disgusting, like she says I have to wipe down the seat because your ass sweat and hair is all over it. So
yeah, you should wipe down the seat.
I do now. I do.
You had to be told that?
I didn't realize. I mean, I looked down at the
Who you,
seat.
Tim Sabian?
Yeah, but I don't see. Well, I don't see. I don't see it. It would have to be pointed out to me. It's not obvious, but the sweat is. It's a white toilet seat.
All right. I think enough people are ready to vomit at this point. So the point is, a couple weeks ago, Janice decided what?
Janice decided to quit her job. Now, she didn't have a high pay and high profile job. She was a nursery school teacher making under $30,000 a year. She worked virtually right across the street from where we lived in Hoboken, and I thought it was a great setup, but she was miserable. She was miserable, and her misery made me miserable. Like, come home after work, and it was just misery piled on top of misery on top of misery. So
now you're the sole breadwinner.
She quit this summer with my
it's crazy
blessing.
to me.
And I have to say, except for the fact that I'm scared to death about money, so far,
except that little one, that little tiny detail.
So far, I have to say, Will, it has been so much better than I thought it would be. She is treating me like a king. I have not done anything since she quit the job. I haven't taken out the garbage. I haven't cleaned a dish. I haven't made a meal. I haven't taken the laundry out. I haven't folded the laundry. I haven't done a goddamn thing.
I don't like this because I don't want it to work out. I want this to go horribly wrong. I was hoping she'd be sleeping till 5 p.m. every day.
No,
you come home pissed off.
In fact, what time? 1:30. If you got, I'm gonna try and give her a quick call. She better be up.
It's annoying now. She sends you to work with your lunch pack like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, it's like I have a mom at home. I come home
with these packets of cheese.
Yeah,
I see you popping cheese like Tic Tacs over there.
The Baby Bell cheese and the red wax.
Yeah,
hell yeah, better than Tic Tacs. And and I come home and it's like I'm coming home from first grade. She's like, "Did you have enough to eat? What did you eat? Did you eat it in the right order?" My whole life revolves around food.
Did you eat in the right order?
Well, or she asked me what order I ate the food so she could pack it in that order. Because I like to have my Cheerios
Who
first.
the fuck cares what order you ate the cheese in? She really has nothing going on right now at the house, huh?
No, the Cheerios now get packed in a way where I grab them first, and then there's usually some fruit slices, and then some cheese and crackers, and then she makes me a trail mix, a homemade trail mix every day, and then usually a little leftover from dinner. It's
Jason's the best, by the way. I wish we had shot this for Howard TV. I don't know why I didn't. Howard would be pissed if he knew this, but somebody brought in. I think Marianne from Brooklyn always sends us enormous packets of candy. So one day I would just literally put a piece of candy on Jason's desk, and then he would eat it without even questioning where it came from. I'd put another one back as soon as he'd leave, and he'd eat it. It's like literally if there was food within arm's length, he would shove it into his mouth. And we did it for an hour. We just kept continuing to put candy on your desk. You had no idea where it came from, but down it went.
It was, I wasn't going to complain. It was the greatest science experiment ever. And I highly suggest you guys start doing that with double cheeseburgers from McDonald's. Let's just leave them randomly on my desk and see what happens to them. Joe in Missouri, you have a douche of the week nominee. Welcome to Back Office Radio.
Hey now, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking my call. I have a nomination for douchebag of the week.
Yeah.
Or douche of the week. How about Jason Kaplan for just announcing over the radio that he was drunk and high around a 14-month-old kid stealing Cheerios?
Hell yeah.
Amen to that.
Would that be drunk and high around a 14-month-old kid?
Well, hold on a second. We were at a party. Will brought his kid to a party of adults, and I was far from the only person there that was drunk and high, including, I think, Mr. Murray. Will, were you drunk or high?
No.
Well, you're drunk.
Okay.
I drove home. What are you talking about? No, I wasn't.
We played 3 games of beer pong.
No, we didn't. We played 2 games of beer pong, and I wasn't drunk.
Okay. Well,
and my wife was with me, too, who was completely sober.
Was I the only drunk high person there?
No, but obviously the baby was not anywhere near that shenanigans. Actually, when it started, we left immediately.
Oh, my God.
We were horrified by that kind of behavior.
I always forget about the kid. I was at Will's house a few months ago. We're having a lovely little barbecue in the backyard, and Will had this weird walkie-talkie on the table, and I just thought he had a walkie-talkie.
It's a baby monitor, so you can hear the kid crying, by the way. Weird walkie-talkie.
I didn't realize it was a baby monitor, and then an hour into our hanging out, you hear this crying and gurgling coming over the speaker. And 5 minutes later, Tracy walks out with this baby, and I'm like, I had totally forgot you had a kid. It was out of sight.
You were going to make such a fantastic father one day. Really, I can't tell you.
I won't.
How pleasure will be for that child to live with you.
I also smoked weed at your house behind your barn.
Of course you do. It's wherever you go, committing crimes. The one thing, though, we need to get to with your wife being at the house all the time, now that she's not working, is you had an interesting experience a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes, I did. And I am this is all my fault, all bad on me, but I was exhausted last week. And, my wife obviously stays up later than I do because I wake up very early, and now she can just do whatever the fuck she wants, apparently. So I went to bed, and I was having a hard time sleeping, so that's when it becomes a little McLovin time between me and my left hand here. Yes, I use my left hand. Don't ask why. I think
this might be the 3rd time I puke in the show.
And so I got my iPad out, and I got my little bottle of lotion, and I don't know what happened. I mean, I know what happened, but I don't know what happened right after that because I must have passed out. Because when I woke up...
Wait, so you came?
Yeah, I finished.
And did you clean it up or no? I'm not sure.
My pants were on.
Kind of.
No, they were on. My pants were on.
Okay.
I don't know if I actually cleaned up or just pulled the pants up or if I was under the pants. But the point is that Janice, my wife, must have come in and seen... I think I left my iPad porn on. Like, I don't know if it was playing or if it was on a still shot. And I had my bottle of lotion, not just on the bed, but in her slot. Like I'm sleeping with the bottle of lotion as if the bottle of lotion is now my wife.
Oh, my God.
And I wake up in the morning and it's all my stuff now is displayed on the counter. There's the bottle of lotion. There's some tissues. There's my iPad. I hit on the iPad and it's right on, cock whores or something. I was so embarrassed.
Not McDonald's, are you sure about that?
Pretty sure. And I was so embarrassed and I couldn't even talk to her because she was sleeping and it was 4:30 in the morning. I had to get up and go to work. And
so did you end up having a discussion with her about it?
I called her in the afternoon and I said, I don't know what to say.
Honey.
I'm so embarrassed.
Did you end up wiping my stomach clean while you were at it?
She told me it wasn't even the first time it happened. I don't remember.
God. What happened? You used to pass out after you're done?
Hey man, I'm tired and, I guess so. It happens. It's all my fault. I had no excuse for it, but it was embarrassing and it happened. And I don't know what to say about it, except I was very embarrassed to my wife and I called her and apologized. And, she told me that she thinks she knows every time I jerk off because she knows the smell. I just buy.
Oh my God, Jason. I'm going to vomit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were sharing. Oh.
No, we are. I hate to admit this, but I had a similar experience
You did?
with my wife. Yeah. She straight up caught me.
Oh,
and then I tried to get romantic about it, and I was like, honey, why don't you come, help me finish the job, But it was cold outside. Her hands were cold. She was like in work mode, and I was still in that jerk off mode. So, we didn't have the same kind of vibes going on, and it was just terrible. So now she's very nice to me, and she calls me when she's like 5 minutes away from home and says, honey, I'll be home in 5 minutes. So
every time?
Well, yeah, she's good. I'll kind of maybe text her, say, hey, what time you home? Hint, hint.
Do you know what that means? What's going through her mind is about 5 minutes away from home. She's saying, "Oh crap, I don't want to walk in on Will jerking off." That means
of course she doesn't want to.
She's thinking of it every day now.
Well, there are worse things. Thinking about you jerking off every day.
Hey, listen, that's what I said to Janice. She could certainly come in and do it. No one's stopping her. But I'm in a hurry.
We knew this would interest the audience, by the way. These stories. A fat naked Jason on his bed, passed out with a bottle of lotion in his hand.
Well, when you follow that with the story of me leaving my ass and sweat hair on the toilet. All right, enough about me. Mark in Chicago, welcome to Back Office Radio. Do you have a douche of the week nominee?
I do. I'm saying Ronnie for calling out Lieberman for getting drunk at the wedding. What else are you supposed to do at a wedding?
I think Ronnie was so excited that he wasn't the drunk guy at the wedding that he couldn't wait to point out, Lieberman being a drunk.
I mean, I remember 10 years ago, it had to be, we went, Beth and Howard had a Valentine's Day party.
Yeah.
What was it, like 5-10 years ago? Whatever.
It was a long time ago.
Very romantic, very nice, the whole thing. And towards the end of the night, you saw Ronnie with his shirt off wrestling with Wayne Siegel at the front of the party, screaming at the top of his lungs. And it was just like, it was so out of place. It was like, what are you doing?
At some point,
Can you not act like a normal human being for 5 minutes?
At some point, Ronnie was shirtless with a fake bow tie around his neck on stage, because there was a stage where we were, because we did a karaoke contest, just screaming. Just literally screaming on the top of his lungs. Now people pay $30 to go see that, but at the time, we were getting the show for free.
Sal gets that bad rap that it's like, oh, you got to watch Sal. You can't invite him to everything because he's a total... Ronnie is the guy you have to be careful of.
Yeah, Ronnie, do you remember? Now listen, I'm never going to get mad at a guy or weird for a guy for getting trashed at his own bachelor party. But it wasn't a birthday party. But do you remember Ronnie at headquarters for his birthday party? This is the party that infamously ended with Tim, opening up the fire extinguisher. And that becomes the memorable story.
That's funny, by the way, because I was talking to Tim the other day for some reason, and I said, "Hey, man, maybe we should go over to headquarters." He's like, "No, I won't be going back there ever again."
But if Tim hadn't done that, the story of the night would have been how disgustingly drunk Ronnie was. Ronnie was so drunk he at some point ended up with a Superman cape around him. Do you remember this, Will? He was under a table, curled up in a Superman cape, and you and I had to drag him out.
This is a grandfather, by the way. Let's keep that in mind, people.
We had to drag him out from under the table because they were kicking us out from the top section because of what Tim had done. And he was literally dragged down drunk on the floor at his own birthday party. So I think Ronnie is just thrilled that he's not the lush. anymore. That there was somebody more.
There's somebody new out there. I think a lot of us have been through that. I went through the same thing as Lieberman, where I was like the drunken maniac. You're labeled, and
Right.
It takes a long time to lose that.
It does. Those clips of John screaming for Empire State of Mind are never going away. Never going away.
Such a white guy.
Never going away. So Metopia. Should I do a little fat guy minute? What we got here? More about Ronnie. We do have a great story about Ronnie in the next segment. One of the things we are doing here is that the news produces so many great stories every week that sometimes they get lost. Sometimes the news guys don't get in to give the headlines to Howard. Sometimes they play on the Friday and for some reason they just disappear. We have a great underreported story from Howard 100 News we're going to hit in the next segment that involves Ronnie. And you're definitely going to want to stay tuned for that. But before we get to that, let's do a Fat Guy Update.
I am live at Metopia right
I'm sorry. I thought we had a sounder for Fat Guy Update. Nope. Okay. Well, let me just do a Fat Guy Update. I went to a thing called Metopia last week. Will, it is a meat festival. It is a festival of meat in Randall's Island, New York. It's $140 a ticket.
It sounds like the most disgusting thing I've ever heard of, aside from your ass hair on the toilet.
There was pork, there was cow, there was lamb, there were meats I hadn't heard of. There was a turducken carving contest. There was an entire 1,000-pound cow that they had butterflied and open on a grill. I was in heaven. I ate, I think 14 different types of meat. I drank tons of beer. I met some fascinating, interesting people, including the great Pat LaFrieda from Pat LaFrieda Meats. And here's just a quick little interview I did with him.
I am live at Metopia right now. It is the Woodstock of meat, or so I'm told, and I am standing here next to the great Pat LaFrieda of Pat LaFrieda Meats. Pat, how's it going?
It's a great day today. The weather's held up for us. It's beautiful. There's meat all over the place. I couldn't be more excited.
Now, Pat, right behind you, right over your shoulder here, I see an enormous carcass on a. It looks like you're being smoked on a giant grill here. What's right behind you?
So this is a huge Kahachina box that we built ourselves. So we made one that was large enough to hold a 900-pound steer, and that's what we had in there. We had it butterflied. We gave it a nice dry rub of porcinis, and we brined it for two and a half weeks, and we had it cooking in there for 24 hours.
Now, contrary to popular belief, I am not the 900-pound cow that they roasted at Metopia. Will, I'm going to show a picture to you, and then I'll tweet this out at Stern Show. This is the cow.
Oh, my God.
It's an entire cow. You understand this? This isn't a chicken. This isn't even a pig. This is a 900-pound cow. And look, they just cut off the brisket in this picture. The brisket's right under the shoulder.
For some reason, I always picture, like, Walking Dead with this thing. Like, there's a dead cow on the ground, and just these fat, disgusting people are crawling around feeding on it.
I have to say, I bought for the first time ever, New York accent shot coming out there. I bought for the first time ever really, really expensive meat. I went down to Italy, which is Mario Batali's supermarket here in New York City, and I bought Pat LaFrieda's meat, prime Angus dry-aged steaks.
That sounds good.
$50 T-bone. I brought it home and cooked it up for me and Janice, and I have to say, it was probably one of the greatest things I ever ate in my life.
I got to ask you, and I know this is probably disgusting, but after you eat 14 different kinds of meat, what does that bowel movement look like?
You know, I don't, it wasn't memorable. I'll tell you that much. I don't remember it. This body is trained. You don't get to look like this overnight. It takes a lot of work, a lot of, gastronomical exercise. I don't know. My body can handle a lot. Jay in Pittsburgh, welcome to Back Office Radio.
What's up, fellas?
What's up?
Yo.
Hey, I'm a big fan. I love everything about Stern. I got the Howard TV, all that, but no offense, I just don't see this show lasting, guys.
No offense, I just don't see it lasting.
Is it not interesting enough for you?
Well, no, I just figure you better throw everybody in the complex under the bus because I don't know how much time you have left. Who else didn't you get yet? I mean...
Oh, there's plenty. There's still plenty of people.
Stay tuned. That's why we need a second show. I mean, listen, John and JD are hardly the entire back office. We'll take one more call, and then we're going to go to a break. Captain Jenks, hey, thanks for gracing us with your presence on the show. Welcome to Back Office Radio.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm really liking the show so far. But I have one question and a comment. My question is, aren't you guys both afraid that everybody's going to keep you out of the loop now that you're doing this show? I mean, because I would be worried, and I've seen stuff in the back office there. And also, Jason, thanks for painting that picture in my head of you lying on your bed naked, jerking off.
It's what I do. I paint with words. Captain Jinx, I'm not afraid of people keeping
your
stuff.
penis.
I'm not afraid of keeping people keeping stuff from us because we are the back office and we work in the back office. You'd have to go out of your way to keep stuff from Will and I.
We went through a similar thing with Page 69, and you know what? Actually, more people actually came to us with stories. So that's the hope.
Coming up after the break, an explosive Howard 100 news story that ran this week that I feel is not getting enough attention. We will shine a spotlight on it, Your calls and more. You're listening to Back Office Radio only on Howard 101.
You're listening to Back Office Radio with Will and Jason on Howard 101. Two guys who would have hated each other in high school. Back Office Radio with Will and Jason on Howard 101.
Oh, okay, I was grooving after that Cake song.
I know. I love Cake.
It's the theme song to Chuck.
You love to eat it? I like to listen to it.
It's the theme song to Chuck, one of my all-time favorite TV shows. Yeah, I don't think we would have liked each other in high school.
No, it wouldn't have happened.
I think you ran with a completely different crowd.
I probably would have thrown stuff at you, and you would have killed me and everyone else in the school.
No,
that's the best about Jason. You got to get into that sometime about how you literally wore a black trench coat to high school.
Well, this is before
you were the scary kid.
This was before the Colorado kids shot up the school. After they shot up the school, I stopped wearing my black trench coat.
But you were an OG.
I was
you were
an
like
OG.
the guy.
I was an OG. Well, I was going to say we wouldn't have run in the same crowd because you had a crowd and I didn't. I was all by myself.
And now you're the size of a crowd.
Yeah, I'm the size. I bring my crowd with me. I like
Thank
it. Welcome to Back Office Radio. We are in the final home stretch here of our show. We, of course, nominated several people for Douche of the Week earlier in the show. I nominated John Hine. You nominated Ronnie. And Teddy nominated both this studio and Scott the engineer. Teddy, our board op assistant, I suppose, isn't even in the studio right now, so we'll announce the douche of the nominee when he gets back. So before we get to that, let's talk about an underreported Howard 100 news story that I think Howard should be all over. Hit the intro, please.
And now, the most overlooked Howard 100 News story of the week.
So, Will, the news ran a story this week, and I was laughing my ass off listening to it. Ronnie has a girlfriend. Her name is Stephanie.
Yeah.
She's a very beautiful, very nice girl.
Way too good for him.
Way too good for him. Also very young. And he's
what is she, like 12? Oh, no.
No, she was 12 when they first started dating.
Oh,
So she's
okay.
like 16 now, yeah. She's lovely, lovely girl. And according to the news, the report the news did with her during the Richie Wilson's wedding, she is dead set on getting Ronnie to marry her. So dead set on getting Ronnie to marry her. I don't know, but I think she's in for a big wake up call if she thinks Ronnie is going to propose to her. She, according to the Howard 100 News, not only is she convinced that Ronnie is going to propose to her, but she already has it planned out that their wedding's going to take place next year in upstate New York. I've heard things that she might already be planning a party in her head. It's crazy.
Why would you want to start a life with a guy who has so little left? You know what I mean? Really? He's going to make a great-grandfather, I think.
I don't know Ronnie as well as Stephanie knows Ronnie. But the little bit I know of Ronnie, I think she is setting herself up for a major, major disappointment. What do you think?
No, she's a sweet girl. Everyone loves Stephanie. But, come on. This guy just got out of a long marriage. Not just, but he got out of a long marriage so he can party like an animal.
Right.
And that's what he's doing. I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
He is he's living the dream every, divorced guy wants to live. But I don't know if marriage is in the equation anymore.
Well, I didn't get a chance to talk to Ronnie about this story. I hope Howard brings this up on Monday. But I would imagine that Ronnie is feeling the same way that he's felt every time I've asked him about this relationship, where he goes, I am never getting married again.
Yeah.
I don't think you start dating a 20-year-old girl because you're looking to get married.
But what about one of those things where Howard said he'd never get married again, and, look at him now.
Yeah, I mean, look, people do change.
But Ronnie doesn't seem like he's changing
But
at
Ronnie
all, right?
you saw a change in Howard. He went from dating a bunch of girls to dating one girl to getting very serious about this. There was a whole demeanor change.
Howard was that first month or two, he was a total maniac, and then he's like, oh, I'm disgusted with that guy. Ronnie continues to be that guy, and we continue to be disgusted with him.
So the Howard 100 News, great report from finding out that Stephanie plans on being married to Ronnie 1 year from now in upstate New York. This was our most underreported Howard Stern 100 News Story of the Week, and we hope to do this every week. And now some of our Douche of the Week nominees, and before we get to the winner, let's take some calls. There's a bunch of people on the line that think I should be the Douche of the Week, and that's fair enough. Andrea in Port Washington, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey,
What's up, Andrea?
I'm a long-time listener, so thanks for taking my call.
Sound cute.
So I wanted to nominate Jason for being the Douche of the Week. I'm sorry, Jason. I listen to you all the time, but I do not always agree with you. I feel like you're the guy who knows it all, who you could never argue with because he'll find something to tell you right away. You already probably thought about it even before the argument stops, like the kid who brings the apple to the teacher and raises his hands. Me. I feel like that's you. And never, ever win an argument with you.
Well, but I'm sorry to interrupt you. But if
No,
I could
go
say,
ahead.
are you saying that I'm a douche because, as JD pointed out on the wrap-up show, I'm smart and quick and witty, and I am a good arguer?
No. I
None of
feel
those
like
things.
You actually, and this is so weird because who would ever be jealous of JD? But I think that you are a little bit jealous of JD just because he has Howard's attention.
Well, I think I have Howard's attention, so no, I'm not. I'll tell you where
Who do
I
you
am.
think Howard likes more, you or JD?
I think personality-wise, JD, and I think work-wise, he likes me better. And
JD works hard, though. That's not really fair to JD.
No, I'm not. I didn't say fair.
Okay.
I did not say fair. JD works very hard, and he's very, very good at his job. And in fact, he should thank me every day because I was instrumental in helping him get hired here. I was one of the first JD backers, and he knows it. I also helped him get health care set up, too, for himself.
Oh, when we used to think he was an axe murderer.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what I am jealous of. I'm definitely jealous about JD and the block party. The fact that he's raking in thousands of dollars every weekend. Hell yeah, I wish I was making thousands of dollars.
And getting
every
laid
weekend.
on top of it.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
forget
So
that.
I will certainly admit jealousy, but I'm not jealous of anything else besides the money part.
Andrew, real quick, though, I mean, do you enjoy listening to Jason just because he is kind of that guy?
You know, that's exactly what I was going to say. Jason is that guy, but I would rather have a pap smear than listen to Jason for a
Wow. Well, you waited on hold for a half hour. That's a long pass smear there, Andrea. I hope you're okay. Here's another nominee for Douche of the Week, Pat. Pat, welcome to the Back Office Radio Show. Who is your nominee for Douche of the Week?
Hey now, I want to nominate Howard.
For why?
The Dr. Ruth interview when he was talking about the Holocaust, he kept referring to her family as being wiped out, and I just felt that a little callous.
Huh. All right, so you nominate Howard for his choice of words while talking to Dr.
It was
Ruth?
60 years ago. What's a big deal?
Never again, Will. Never again.
True.
We have a VIP calling in right now on the hotline. He wants to confront our underrated, our underreported Howard 100 news story. It is none other than possibly soon to be married, Mr. Ronald Mond.
This is total damage control. I can tell already.
It's the douche of the week.
No, you're not douche of the week.
Just a nominee.
Well,
right?
yeah, somebody nominated me before.
Oh, that was in our test show.
Yeah.
One of the callers.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so I'll break it down real quick. Everybody had their drunken moment at the wedding, including John Lieberman, of course.
Yes.
Stephanie had her drunken moment when she caught the bouquet. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
When Rachel threw the bouquet, she made a little speech and she did this little interview with Lieberman, who couldn't even finish the interview because he was so drunk. JD had to finish the interview. Yeah, she did say she thought she was going to get married and blah 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 and all that.
Blah blah blah. She wanted a whole life with me. We
are living together. We're enjoying ourselves. We're having a great time. There is no marriage talk in the future. Just so you know,
dude, Ronnie, but you know.
Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me finish.
Of course.
The party she was talking about. She's planning a big 30th birthday party for herself next year in May, and that's basically
Next year. You mean in like 12 years?
No,
I'm kidding. Okay.
Next May, this coming May. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That's the party she's talking about, and I am helping her with it. So,
Ronnie, if she gave you an ultimatum, I mean, no one responds well to ultimatums, but has she brought up marriage to you before, or is this really just a drunken outburst?
I mean, she's mentioned it, but she, to her, she was happy. The thing that she really wanted was to move in. So that happened.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too.
But the problem with moving in is you're running out of spaces. Like,
Right.
now you're getting cornered. There's nowhere else to go from there.
No, dude, I got my place down here. I got my hideout. I can lock doors. It's a separate apartment.
They all say they don't want to get married.
I can lock myself down here and never come out. I
Yeah.
got a side entrance, everything, man.
It's so funny, being married and living with somebody are pretty much the same thing. And like Will is so excited this morning. He just found out that his wife is going away, taking the kid away for a weekend coming up. And he's like, I have the house to myself.
It's going to be the greatest thing ever.
It's so funny. It really is like being, living with your parents again.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen? He's going to be so excited that she's leaving, but when she does leave, he's going to be miserable.
But you know what? That's a good point. It's like McDonald's. You have to do it every once in a while. You have to be a maniac just to remember why you don't like doing it anymore. So that's how I see it. I think I'm actually going to come down.
I don't understand that now.
Of course you don't. You eat McDonald's for every meal.
No, but we're having a great time. I mean, her living here is great, and it's been good.
Ronnie, last question for me, brother. If it's a modern world and she's a young woman, if she proposed to you, how would you respond?
That's a good question, man.
That's something I don't want to answer on the air.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, like I said, I don't see any marriage in my future. So, I mean, I've been there and I've done that. And it was a long time. It was a lifetime practically.
Yep.
you know, a lot went on, and I'm sad it happened, but, you know, you got to go on with your life.
Right. So the future holds?
What's that?
So the future holds if she was to ask you to make a new future with her?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
poor
It's really
Stephanie.
funny because I interviewed this girl yesterday from Gossip Girl, and she's doing a movie with the guy from House, Hugh Laurie. And the movie, we got into the whole conversation about the movie.
Yeah.
The movie is...
Save it for the John Hines Show. Okay, moving on.
No. The movie is actually what's going on in my life now. She's gotten, you know, involved with this older guy.
Are you telling me you're fucking Leighton Meester?
No, I wish I
I'm
was.
so jealous.
Leighton Meester must be filming a period piece from the 1880s or something. Hey, John Lieberman wants to just respond very, very quickly to Ronnie.
Shut John. He was so drunk, he doesn't even know.
We're never going to escape the comedy duo of John Lieberman and
Right.
Ronnie Mund on any show.
Yeah,
on
I'm not
Howard
even
100.
believing this between you two anymore. I think you guys
Go
are
on.
best friends, but go on.
We actually
you know
aren't
what?
getting
You know, the
along
funny
that well
part-
lately because he's
Whoa. The funny part about this, Lieberman, is I said to you, gee, that story didn't run too well. Nobody really heard it. So you had to make sure that you ran in and ran it on their show.
No. Lieberman had nothing to do with it.
In
I
fact,
picked the
Ronnie,
story.
I was coming in to
Oh,
tell
you're
these
full of
guys,
shit.
fuck off. I was coming
You're
in.
full of shit. Go scratch your head, will you? Let's see some more marks on
I
your
was coming
forehead.
in to say that you came to me Monday morning and said, hey, please don't air this. And I said, okay, you know, we won't air it if you don't want to. But then you came later and said,
Yeah, then I said it was all right.
then later you said
it
it's
was fine.
okay. And for the record, I didn't come to these guys and tell them to air this.
Dude, whose voice headlines this thing?
Is every John around here sneaky? Really?
I know, right? Hey, Ronnie, real quick, because I always tell the truth. Last night I went on the Stern Show Twitter feed. I listened to every single story that was been posted in the last week and a half, and that was the one I picked. Ralph Howard was supposed to voice our intro for that. I don't know what happened with that, so John Lieberman stepped up and did it. He had no knowledge that we were going to do this segment, in all fairness to him.
Somehow, behind the scenes, he's had something.
He's still a scumbag. Yeah, I agree with you. Ronnie, thank you. He's a douchebag. Ronnie, you have a quick nominee for douche of the week. Is it John Lieberman?
Oh, of course.
Of
without
course.
a doubt. He's a total douche and he dyes his hair.
All right, well, we'll go out on
Don't
that
go
one.
off on the deep end now, John. Please don't start drinking in here.
Yeah, and stop.
I just heard you're going to be around in a few weekends. You want to go drinking?
Let's do it, babe. I will do that. You and me get crazy, kid. I would love that.
Oh, John will rip the skin right off his forehead.
I love John, actually. He's a good
All right,
guy.
we have a minute left in the show, so we have to announce our douche of the week winner. I nominated.
Let's go through the nominees again real quick.
I nominated John Hine. Will nominated Lisa G. Teddy nominated both Scott Studio and Scott himself. Al, who's going to win douche of the week?
Douche of the week.
Will and I were talking during the break, and
Look at Teddy. He's going, who is it? Who is the douche of the week?
We called an audible, Teddy, and we're going to name you the douche of the week.
You are the douche of the week.
Because
you barely paid attention in this goddamn studio the entire show. You've been sitting over there, your shitty hangover, not really doing anything. You're supposed to be a voice on this show.
No, I've been muzzled, actually.
You've been muzzled? Muzzled by what?
Muzzled
The drugs
by
you took
management.
last night?
I would like to point out that Teddy neither operated the board, contributed on
Now
air.
he's walking out of the studio.
or was in the show for most of the segments. But I love Teddy, but he was the douche of the week. Guys,
That was
thank
an
you
easy one.
so much for staying with us. I know we had technical difficulties in the beginning of the show. I hope you enjoyed what you heard. I hope you want to hear more of it. This is Will and Jason doing Back Office Radio. Will, great job, brother.
Let's go face the hate in the back office after this.
Yeah, let's go face the hate. Ooh, that should be a segment for next week's show. Guys, thank you for listening to Back Office Radio. Next on Howard 101, the John Hine TV show. Listen to it.
Peace.
Peace.